iPad microphone.
Hello guys, it's
Home. Messages. No. Clock. 5:27 a.m. Calendar. Saturday, the 27th.
5:27 a.m. on Saturday. So, yeah, it's Saturday today.
Medicare.
And I'm going to make a mug cake. So, I've got some eggs here. My support worker told me how you do it. Now, you use one egg. Now, I can't be sure if they're definitely rotten or not, so I'm going to crack one egg into the cup, and if it stinks, I won't use it. I'll just get rid of it. It doesn't stink. No, it doesn't stink. No. If it was really, really rotten, it would absolutely stink. There is a smell to eggs, but it doesn't absolutely stink. So, what she said you use, my support worker told me this yesterday, it's really easy. You beat up an egg a little bit with a fork. I'm going to do that now. You beat an egg. You add a little bit of milk. So I don't know how much exactly you add, because she just said you add a little bit of milk. So I'm just going to add like a little bit of milk. So not too much. So it's about 3 tablespoons of milk. Then you beat it up a bit. You beat it up a bit more. Now I'm going to get a teaspoon, because this is important.
YouTube. Now. YouTube. Red circle. Watch the launch pad live in 30 minutes. NASA Artemis 1. VA connect. Speech off.
I needed to get rid of that voiceover. So I'm beating my egg in the milk. Now I'm going to put that fork in the sink. So maybe the eggs will be okay until next week when I chuck them out. Now I'm going to get a teaspoon and add, you can either add a teaspoon or 2 of hot chocolate powder or protein powder or cocoa powder. I'm going to add some of my cocoa powder mix. So I'll just put the teaspoon down. I'll get my cocoa powder. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I have to find this bloody thing now. Fuck. What's in this one? That definitely smells like cocoa. So, I've got to get the cocoa mix. Now, because it's a mug cake, you've got to be careful how much stuff you put in it so you don't overdo it. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of, or 1 heaped teaspoon of cocoa mix, because you don't want to put too much in or you can fuck up the recipe. I'm going to gently mix that in. Gently mix it in. Let me put that away. Oh, cocoa is great in chocolate cake recipes and that. And the good thing about these recipes, it's a scaled down cake. It scales down how much cake you get, so you're only getting a small serving of cake, not a huge big, you know, serving. So, gotta check how I'm mixing this in. Yeah, that's okay. Now I'm gonna get the self-raising flour. Oh, my finger. Lucky it's only a tiny little finger. You know, it's like a first degree burn on one small spot on my finger. Ow, ow, ow. We're going to get the flour. And the good thing about these cake recipes is you're not making an entire cake, you're just making enough for one person. And you don't have to add, you know, egg, like sugar and butter and all that crap. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. Where's the fucking flour? Where is it? Oh. I can't find the flour. Oh, where is it? Oh. Now, where is it? That's... Oh... I don't know. I hope it's self-raising flour. Let me, I think in the plain flour I put aluminium foil. Oh, I just dropped it everywhere. Oh. No, I didn't. It's icing sugar, and no, I didn't drop it everywhere. Oh shit, oh God. Oh. My coffee container lid literally fell off the fucking container. Oh, fell off. Oh. Oh, you fucking thing. Close up, you stupid fucking thing. Oh, fuck's sakes. Where's the fucking flour? Oh, where the fuck is it? Found one type of flour. Where the other fucking flour went? Oh, where the fuck is it? Oh, fuck. Where the fuck is it gone? Oh, where the fuck is it? Where the fuck did it go? Oh, fuck. Oh, you fuckhead, that's coconut. Oh, God. Oh, I don't know where the fucking flour is. Oh. Anyway, I'm hoping this will be self-raising flour. I hope it is. I thought I bloody was going to spill it everywhere then. And I didn't. Oh, fuck. Oh my God. The good thing about these cakes is you can add a little bit of sugar if you need to. Just a little bit of sugar. But I guess, you know, you don't have to. Oh, fucking... Oh. Okay. So now I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of... Oh, this better be self-raising flour, I'll tell you. It better be self-raising. I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of this. So 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to gently mix it in. Nice and gently. And the good thing about these cakes is they're scaled down to size, so you've only got that one cake to deal with, not a whole huge cake. And You can add a little knob of butter and sugar to make it taste like a real cake if you want. You know, you can do that. You know, I'm going to add a small amount of margarine to it. Well, it's butter, but it's, you know, I'm going to add a tiny little bit to it so it doesn't get all sticky. I'm just going to add, you know, I'm just going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar, right? Where's the lid for this bloody flour? Because I don't want to ruin it. Oh, this better be the self-raising fucking flour that I'm looking for. Oh, it better be self-raising bloody flour. Because, yeah, it needs to be. I fucking insist on it being. The good thing about this recipe is you can scale it to size. And you can use white sugar, you can use brown sugar, you can use caster sugar if you want. Caster sugar is finer than white sugar, but for now it will have to suffice until I find where the brown sugar actually is. For now, I'll just deal with what I've got. So 1 teaspoon of sugar, and I don't have like a beater to turn it into like cream, but I'm just going to do the best that I can with what I've got. And then 1 teaspoon of margarine. So 1 teaspoon of margarine. Hang on, that's too much. I only wanted a teaspoon, not, you know, a whole fucking tablespoonful of it. Okay. So I'm going to gently, it's going to take a bit of time, but so what. I'm going to wash my hands with soap. Now, the good thing about these recipes is you can beat it down to size. You can downscale the recipe so you've only got 1 mud cake serving size just for you. You know? And you only microwave it for 50 seconds, and if it isn't cooked enough you put it in for another 10 seconds and so forth. You know, you don't just keep, you know, overdoing it. So I'm just going to keep on mixing this around till it's all melted together. It's going to take a while. It's like mixing a mug of, you know, something to drink, but you're making a mug cake. And the good thing about this, it is scaled to size, so it's 1 portion for 1 person. And unlike using an electric beater for a traditional sized cake mix, you just use a fork and a teaspoon. So I've mixed it all together. Now I'm going to get a fork and I'm going to finish beating it together with a fork. So I'm going to get another fork and I'm going to give it a bit of a quick whisk, because this mug is too small for a whisk, so I'm going to use a fork and whisk it all together. You know, and get the stuff off the sides, then you whisk it again. You've got to make the cake nice and airy for the microwave. I'm basically doing what you do in a bowl where you like whisk it, but I'm using a fork as my little mini mug whisk. Feel that? And it's only 1 thing to feel, like it's 1 serving to touch, not a whole massive bowl of cake. I'm just gonna get this, gotta be careful with the sugar, you get off the sides. And the good thing is, you're not making enough cake for 10 people, you're not adding 6 tablespoons of sugar to it, you're just adding 1 teaspoon because it is just the right serving only for you, not for 15 people. Now I'm going to put this in the microwave
Door open.
for, oh you fucking thing. I'm going to put it in there for
Door
60
closed.
seconds.
1 minute. Start.
And I'm going to
High
clean
power
up while I
microwave. 1 minute.
let that go. So I'm going to put the flour away. I'm sure it's self-frozen flour, but anyway. And I'm going to put the butter away. And the good thing is with this mug cake is you can add cream or custard to it and you're eating it out of the mug, which is very fucking awesome. Or you can even tip it out of the mug into a bowl with ice cream. You know, the sky's your limit when you're making cake. So
Complete.
all you're doing is making a tiny little serving of cake recipe. It's this tiny little bit of cake dough. Just enough for you. So instead of using a whisk to mix your dough batter for cake, you're using a fork and a teaspoon, not a whisk and a gigantic
Door open.
cooking spoon. How have we got in here? What have we got? Oh, it needs to be cooked for a bit more time. Let's see how this goes.
Door closed.
10
1
seconds.
minute.
No,
Cancel.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Start.
Yep.
High power microwave. 10 seconds.
See how it cooks. I mean, you got to be careful with cooked cake, but we'll see how it goes.
Door open.
Oh, yum. The cake smells nice. Needs to be cooked more in the middle. That's all right.
Door closed. 10, 20 seconds.
You wanna
Start.
cook it more in the
High
middle.
power microwave. 20 seconds.
I probably added too much milk to it, but you know, we just have to see how it goes. I probably added a tiny bit too much milk to the mixture,
Door open.
but it smells, you know, like it's coming along nicely. We just have to see how it is. Yeah, I made it too runny. Yeah, I think I made it too runny.
Door closed. 2 minutes. Cancel. 10, 20 seconds. Start. High power
Yeah, I made it a bit
microwave.
too runny.
20 seconds.
I made it too runny.
Cancel. Door open.
Let's see how this is. Okay. Oh yeah, it rose up. Oh, it rose up really well. Yeah.
Door closed. 1 minute. Start. High power microwave. 1 minute.
I'm not going to keep it in for that long, but I'm just going to let it.
Pause. Door
I'm going to check
open.
it again.
Pause.
Oh yeah, it's rising up nicely.
Door closed. Continue.
It's rising up really nicely. And because it's a mug cake,
Pause.
you just
Door
eat it out
open.
of the mug. It just rises up twice its size. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I've got to let that settle in.
Door closed. Pause. Continue. Pause.
Then I've got to
Door open.
open it up again and see what it's doing. So you can't leave things go for too long in the microwave, like you've got to be very careful with it. I think that's okay. I think, let me get it out. Yeah, so when you're microwaving stuff, you've got to be careful how much you
Door
do it.
closed. Pause.
So then the cake sits in nicely. I might microwave it a little
Door
bit more.
open.
You don't want to do it too much because it'll fuck it up.
Door closed. Continue.
But, you know, it will work.
Pause. Press again to door open.
You have to be
Pause.
really careful with these things.
Press a cancel.
You can't just
Door
got to be
closed.
very, very sensitive to it. Yum. Yum. I'm going to eat that and see what it tastes like. You got to let it cool off for a couple of minutes. And if it tastes yuck, I'll just refine the recipe a bit more. Maybe I didn't add enough cocoa to it. Maybe I added too much flour, too much milk. I just have to give it a try and see what I like or don't like about it. And I mean, I might never do this again. I mean, I will though, because I love eating cake. Gonna try some of this. It needed a bit more. What did it need in it? More cocoa. Well, that's okay. I'll add more cocoa to it next time. I'll just add more cocoa. The egg doesn't taste too bad. There is a special thing you can do in the microwave, and Blind Music Mum, you were talking about exploding eggs. I'll tell you what my support worker said that we do wrong, because I told her that me and you were both blind and we try things. What you're doing wrong, Blind Music Mum, is you're leaving it for too long without checking it. So whenever you put something in the microwave, it's going to heat up way faster than normal if you're just using a stove like you wrote to me in a text. So you always put stuff in for less time than you think you need, because you can check it, let it cool off a bit, the heat will finish cooking it, and if you're not satisfied, you can just say, nah, I waited for a minute and I don't like how it is, I'll just put it in for another 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Sometimes you might estimate 20 seconds, but you've got to be careful and do not put it in for a long time. If it's a pain for you, then don't do it. I love microwaving stuff because if it's wrong, I can improve on it until it tastes good. This isn't bad for a starter cake, but I didn't put enough cocoa in it. There's definitely enough sugar in it. I won't add more sugar, but it needed more cocoa. So I know that for next time. use a tablespoon of cocoa, not 2 teaspoons. And use maybe a bit less milk, so not as much milk. It's not bad for the first time making it either. And my support worker said to me, it's a really good snack because you're not making enough cake for 10 people going, why do I have to get out the electric beater and a large mixing bowl, 10 cups of bloody flour, 2 cups of sugar. You downsize it to what you need, and if you don't like it, you don't give up on it. You just say, well, it needed more cocoa, so I'll add 3 or 4 teaspoons of cocoa, not just 2 of them. It doesn't need more sugar, but it certainly needed more cocoa, and maybe a little bit less flour, like I probably added too much flour to it. So next time I might just use 2 teaspoons of self-raising flour, or like just under a tablespoon. And it's a really good snack when you just want something to eat but you don't want to get out your mixing bowl. You just put it in a little mug, or even you can do it in a little bowl, you know. I prefer a mug, of course, because then, like your drinking cup, you just put it in the sink and you wash it. It tastes very much like egg because I did not put enough cocoa in it, but it's okay. I think next time I'm going to beat my butter and sugar to a cream with the fork. The other thing that I like about mug recipes is you don't need an electric beater. You just use a fork. And maybe I needed 2 teaspoons of butter, not 1 teaspoon. You know, things like that. I'm going to muck around with it until I get it right. And that's the beauty of these recipes. You don't have to just chuck it into the bin and say, I'm never doing this again. You just make it and you go, well, this didn't work out, I'm going to try and add a bit more stuff to it. And with egg, you never put it in the microwave for more than 30 seconds at a time. Because then you can control how much time, you know, how much heat is being generated by the microwave into the egg, and you don't end up with an explosion. And the support worker also told me, beat your egg. Before you put it in the microwave, give it a bit of a quick beat because you'll scramble it, but it won't explode. And if you don't want it scrambled, you get a fork and you gently poke it. You just press the fork down till you hear it hit the bottom of the mug like this. That noise. Right? You only need to do it once, and then it will stop the egg from exploding. I'm like, okay. And with this you can make mug eggs. You can make mug poached eggs. You add an egg to your mug. Because she said to me, why are you using, you know, poached cups when you can use a bloody coffee mug to do it? I'm like, you've got a good point there, lady. She said, why are you using fancy containers when you've already got some bullshit crappy things? You know, some cereal bowls, some sauces. Oh, get rid of your fancy containers. You don't need them. And I'm like, you're damn right, lady. And she said, for my case, because I'm blind, keep the fancy containers. They will be necessary for certain things. But if I'm making one thing, I don't need to use 6 different sized bloody containers to make one meal. And I'm like, you're damn right. You're fucking right. Just use a bloody mug. And you add the egg to the mug. You add, she said, never add too much liquid to your microwaving dishes. Always add less rather than more. And I'm like, oh. And then you put it in for 30 seconds, and if it's very dry, you haven't, you think, okay, I've added 2 teaspoons of water, but I might have only added, half a teaspoon. So that gives you a chance to add a little bit more water, like a couple of drops of water. And the good thing about microwaving stuff is when you eat it, the food's fresh, the egg's fresh, it's cooked. You are not going to get sick from one serving of, for example, I didn't put enough cocoa in the cake. Okay, I'm still not going to end up in hospital with food poisoning because it's cooked. And you don't use 6 tablespoons of self-raising flour, use 1. You're not going to get sick from having a little bit of snack food that you say, look, this is a shit recipe, I need to add more stuff to it. You're not going to get ill. You're not going to get food poisoning over it, so eat it anyway. If you're fussy enough to chuck it out, you know what? Get rid of it. You've only got a little bit there and you haven't wasted a whole tub of flour. Grow some thick skin and say, hey, if I waste a tub of flour, that's different. If I waste 1 tablespoon of flour and then I'm chucking it out, it was 2 tablespoons of milk. It wasn't much. It would be different if you add 6 cups of flour, 3 cups of sugar, 3 eggs, and then it turns out yuck and you think, you've had to waste that whole recipe? But this is like a little serving. That is nothing. So if anyone's worried, don't be worried. You don't have to worry. Don't. It's fine. The cake is edible. It isn't wrong. It just needs a little bit of extra cocoa in it. The flour's perfect. It just needed extra cocoa. And the good thing about the 50-second time limit is if it doesn't work, you put it in for an extra 10 seconds. Then you set the microwave to 20 seconds and then you go, okay, you press start and you go, oh, I can hear a noise, I'll turn it off. Maybe it sounds sizzly because, the mixture's bubbling. Maybe 20 seconds is too much. But you're always supervising that microwave and checking it every few seconds until it's just right. Because then you're generating the right amount of heat and it's not going to wreck your food. And when you eat it, you might have to revise the recipe, like I have to revise this recipe, but it is working and it is not going to make me sick eating it. It's only 1 egg, it's only a little bit of milk, a little bit of flour. It's not going to waste an entire week's worth of groceries by stuffing up 1 small cup of cake. And I've got mini baking trays in my cupboard. I can make a few bickies with a biscuit recipe and I can save the rest of the biscuit dough. I can put the rest of the bicky dough, after I make it, I can put it in a Ziploc bag I can put braille labelling on it saying biscuit, you know, cookie dough. I can literally freeze that in a Ziploc bag and say I only want to make 5 biscuits today, and then I can freeze the rest of it. I can get it out and I can bake the rest of it another time. You know, there is so many bake it now. I mean, there's so many make it now, bake it recipes. There are so many make it now, bake it later recipes available these days, guys. If you don't want to make 50 cookies, make your big batch of dough, put half in the freezer and use half of it. You don't have to make a whole heap of bickies. Like, my support worker has given me so many cooking tips for the microwave, it's amazing. I'm probably going to work on this recipe on a daily basis until I'm so fat I'll be like, I can't make these cakes anymore because I've gained too much weight and I'm going to get diabetes soon, and I love them, but I need a break for a few months because I'm going to get sick if I, you know, get really, really overweight because I'll be making these every day for weeks until I perfect this recipe. And it's a really, really good snack. It is a very good snack. You know, it's not something that you just put one mouthful in your gob and it's gone. It's a proper snack. And like I said, if you do it wrong and you don't like it, you've only had to throw out 1 cup of food. If you're like me and you can bear with it and you say, it's a bit bland, it tastes a bit like egg, I didn't put enough cocoa in it. It's got a cake taste, but it tastes too plain. Maybe I need to add a little tiny bit of vanilla to it. Okay, you know, and you don't have to, but they're the things I'll be dealing with as I go along with making this recipe better. So I'm eating it because it's palatable. It's very bland, but it's okay. It's alright. I think I added way too much milk to this. Next time I'm just going to add like a less milk, but I made the dough too runny. It was meant to be like a stiff. You know how cake dough is when you make it and it goes stiff. It's meant to be like stiff and pasty, but this is like really runny. I put too much milk in it. But I know that. Add less milk, add more cocoa. I don't need more butter. The 1 spoon of sugar was perfect. I don't need extra sugar. If I add cocoa, I might need to add extra sugar, like an extra, you know, spoon of sugar. I don't know, but I'll see how I go next time. And the good thing about these cake recipes is you're using your fork as your whisk and a spoon, a teaspoon as your mixer. You're not having to use an electric beater and that to make it. And because it's a teaspoon or 2 of butter, the fork is strong enough to turn it into cream because there's a tiny little amount. It's strong enough to make cream. Because the serving of butter and sugar is tiny and the fork will definitely turn it into cream. Like, it's just how it works. You don't need an electric mixer for a tiny, so you know your normal cake recipe, you're basically turning it into just one. You're dividing 3 eggs into 1 egg, 6 tablespoons of something to like half a tablespoon, so 2 teaspoons. You're making 1 serving of an actual cake. So instead of making a normal sized cake recipe, I'm only making 1 serving of that recipe, which is bloody awesome. Oh, I'm going to do this all the time now. And I'm a fuckhead. I use those poached cups for making fucking poached egg when I can just put it in a bloody mug. You know, I'm a fucking idiot sometimes. And the good news is, I'm not going to get food poisoning from it. So you fill up the mug, you soak it, right? You know, there's nothing wrong with letting a bloody coffee mug soak for 2 hours, and then you get the dishes ready and you put it in really hot water and you wash them. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? Who said it was a crime to soak a coffee mug for 2 hours? It's not, is it? So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about nothing. Unless the doctor says, oh, you're too nervous and you really do need your magnesiums, and yeah, you might have a mental illness, but it's probably more serious. So even if it isn't, we have to, even if it's not more serious than a psychiatric disorder, we still have to make sure that it's only a psychiatric disorder. And I'm like, oh, you know, whatever. Okay. Oh, now after that sweet cake, it wasn't sweet enough, but so. And I believe you can use a mug to make scrambled eggs. It's probably not, no, I lie. I reckon it does taste just as good as traditionally made fried scrambled eggs. I suppose because it's microwaved and you're just using water rather than oil, it may taste a little different to what you're used to, like more bland or less. It won't have that crispy fry pan taste that we're used to in traditional frying, but fuck, it's nice. Like, it is honestly fucking beautiful. You don't have to believe me, and I don't give a shit if you don't believe me, but believe me anyway, it is friggin' nice. Like, it is fucking really good. Just trust me. It's yum. I've used up all the coffee mugs. Oh God, I've used all the fucking coffee mugs. Oh God damn it. Fucking used it all up. Oh, God damn it. Oh, I've used them. Oh, they're all in the sink. Oh, God damn it. They've got some coffee mugs at dollars and cents actually. I only get a couple of extra ones. Those really massive soup mugs. And the good thing about making these cake recipes is you do get food everywhere, but it's not as, I don't know, it's not as messy to clean up as it would be if you had to use an electric mixer and all this other fucking stuff that I hate doing. I've got the skills to use one. I've got the skills to cook a massive cake. If I had to cook one, I would make one. Alright? But in my recipe book that I've got, Make It Now, Bake It Later, I can make so many things. Store it in the freezer, get it out, it's frozen, but it's ready to put in the bloody oven. You know, until it's cooked. So, yeah, I dare say that was it was a bland snack. I could have added more to it, but you know. And I believe you can add chocolate chips to it too. You can definitely add chocolate chips to it. Absolutely. But I fully fucked up the recipe. It was still edible. You're not going to get food poisoning from it. It's just a bit runny. Before that I had grilled toasties. I made chicken, cheese and pineapple sandwiches and they were like so nice. It was so good. It was fucking yum. And now I'm really full because that egg's got heaps of protein and vitamins in it, you know. So yeah, and I took my vitamin B. Oh, why did I drop stuff for? I took my vitamin B complex. So that's out of the road. That is out of the road. I mean, of course, I took my zinc as well as vitamin B and stuff. So yeah, it's out of the road, you know. So that's the good news. Mini guide is here, yep. I have got everything there in the road. I'll make a coffee at some point. I'll make one at some point. I could just, I guess, downsize to a little mug of coffee, I suppose. I mean, what harm would that do me, I suppose? Oh dear. You know, I'll deal with that soon though. I'll deal with that soon. Excuse me. Ah, no. Okay. Back in my room now, and I found a few new YouTube channels and I subscribed to them. And now I'm going to get going and I'll be back later.
Speech on. Dock. Safari. Page 1 of 3. Adjust. Page 2. 1. Recorder HQ. Recorder HQ. Back button. 49. 40. Stereo. M4. iPad. Minor. Core. Stop. Stop. Button.